So we are lucky to have Maarty here today. He has grown up in Redmond, so homegrown. Went to state championship in 2003, graduated from Redmond High School. Obviously now is coaching at Ridgeview, which I'm sure Redmond is a little disappointed, even though I know they have a great coach as well. Went on to play 4 years at Oregon and was able to go to the final 8. Is that right?
Elite 8, yeah.
Yeah, Elite 8. I'm not a basketball. I'm football, baseball. So Elite 8 for basketball, and then traveled overseas, and then has been lucky for our community, has come back and obviously is making a big impact on the youth in the community. So thank you.
Thank you guys for having me, inviting me, Amber. I appreciate it for setting this up. Today's a good day because I'm fired up. It's game day. We got a game today against Henley. So our last regular season or preseason game, and then we start our conference play on Friday against Summit, which Summit is one of the best teams in the state. It's going to be very tough for us, but it is high school basketball, so you never know what you're going to get. So that's some of the things I'm battling. No, I'm excited to be the Ridgeview High basketball coach. As you guys maybe know, it was a big change for me because I'm a Panther, won a state championship, jersey retired, live on the north side of Redmond. Everything is Redmond Panther, more or less. But then I was the coach from last year stepped down, and then the athletic director gave me a call. And when she first called me, I was, heck no, I would never be the coach at Ridgeview. I'm a Panther, I bleed maroon and gold. So I'm a nice guy, so I said I would go meet with her. So after an hour-long conversation, she gave me like a short list of things that I'm responsible for. And I kind of left that meeting, I was like, a lot of the points she gave to me was kind of hit me at the heart. You know what I mean? I want to be, well, at least I think I have good basketball knowledge, big part of this community, want to help the youth, and nothing better than within Redmond. You know what I mean? There's a couple other jobs open, potentially at Bend, Mountain View. But I want to stay here in Redmond. This is where my heart is. This is why I moved back after my long European basketball career, was to come back to Redmond and be a part of this community. So after a couple of weeks, I had to get my family on board because obviously it's a lot of time commitment to be a head basketball coach. And then I got 4 kids as well. So it's one of those things I'm balancing. Luckily, my oldest is a freshman, so I am coaching my oldest where, if my wife complains, like, you're always at the gym, I at least say I'm there with my son, so, you can't get too mad. No, it's good. So I ended up taking the head coaching job, feel really good about it. Like I said, I played for a long time. I felt like I knew the game, understand the game. And now it's putting me to the test to see how good I really am. So, no, it's been good. We got a good group of kids that are willing to, at the high school level, I try to tell them it's more or less who's going to play hard, who's going to compete, who's going to fight, who's going to get in there is kind of, separates the good and the bad of teams. That's at every level, though, more or less. Mm-hmm. And then you can start talking about, strategy, different types of how you're going to guard pick and roll and that whole thing. But and then that obviously that comes talent, skill development, all that stuff. But I just try to get to my group that we have to fight, we have to play hard, we have to want it more. And I guess another thing that I really try to teach my kids is everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to be a winner, but who wants to do the things to go win? So we had a game against Marshfield last week in a tournament. We were up 9 in the third quarter. Everything was going good. We ended up losing in the fourth quarter. We kept on hucking up threes. These young kids today's basketball is, you just want to continue to shoot threes. And unfortunately, we didn't make very many in the fourth quarter. We only scored 8 points and we lost. And so kind of my speech after the game was, everything was going good, but we have to go grab that win because they want to win just as bad as us. So if we continue to, say a little prayer that, we're going to go get every rebound or we're going to continue to score, they want to go get it as well. So you have to go get it yourself. So we kind of hoped that we were going to win the game instead of going out and getting it. So, like I said, we're 6-3, 6-3 right now. The team only won 5 games all of last season, so I've already beat the low bar, which is good. I feel pretty confident about tonight. League play will be tough. Summit, like I said, is the best team in the state. Followed up by Caldera and Mountain View, and then us, Redmond, and Bend will be battling. Projected we'll be battling at the bottom, but I hope to prove people wrong, and I think we will have a good opportunity. My motivational speech after the new year is the year of the Raven. I don't know if it is the year of the Raven. I don't know. Yeah, but I said, hey, it's the year of the Raven where we're going to prove people wrong, and hopefully shock some people. So we'll see what happens. So very excited. Like you mentioned, we got a big game. It's going to be a huge rivalry game on the 16th. We play the Panthers. You play every team 3 times in the league. So we got two road games at Redmond, 1 at Ridgeview. We're stacking the games. We're pretty much all, JV, freshmen, varsity, all playing the same day. Unfortunately, the freshmen have to play at the other gym. Otherwise, it would be an all-day affair. So we got the JV and varsity all playing at Redmond on the 16th, so hopefully everybody shows up. And another thing to that is, high school games, when I remember, the gym used to be full. You used to have student sections, the whole thing. Now it's hard to get people to come to games. It's hard to get students to come to games. I think we played Jesuit, which is a very good 6A team. We gave away the first 100 tickets to students, and we had about 30 students show up. So yeah, it's brutal. And I try to tell my kids, it's like, hey, don't you have like 5 friends? Tell your 5 friends to come. Maybe they bring a friend, and then, I don't know, where are your friends at? So it's kind of unfortunate. The Redmond game should be different just because there's a lot of backstories with me, and then I know the head coach, Reagan Gilbertson. Did he come speak here as well? Yeah, Reagan Gilbertson? Yeah, so I've known Reagan. I've helped him out the last 2 years. He was a player that I kind of looked up to. We just missed each other. We're 5 years difference. So there's a lot of backstories. So we'll see what happens. I think, I don't know if you're a betting man, it's pretty even. They lost one of their key players to a football injury, so we will see. They beat Marshfield. We lost to Marshfield. They beat Pendleton by 5. We beat Pendleton by 15. So it's like, it's one of those things. I don't know. Anybody got any questions? I kind of open it up. I kind of skip through. Go ahead.
Probably got a lot of questions.
Yeah.
What comes to my mind is,
Yeah.
what's your take on creating athletes that are also scholars?
Yeah.
Do good in class.
Yeah. Very important. I kind of preach that to our kids. Obviously, the education standard is not as high as it used to be, and so kids can kind of get away with doing mediocre work, I guess, in the school or in the classroom. So I put a high standard that all kids have to show me their report cards, and they have to maintain a certain standard. Obviously, I can't be too strict on them, but at the same time, I think it's very important. I got a degree from University of Oregon, economics. It was one of those things. Yeah. Go Ducks. Yeah, it was one of those things. I didn't know. I thought I wanted to be a basketball player, so I didn't know what I wanted to go to school for. So I kind of chose something that hopefully helped me out in the future, and here I am, a banker. So. Yeah.
So at the end of the season, were you awarded a scholar athlete?
Oh, is that what you mean? That's a good question. First year head coach. I haven't heard of anything like that, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's a good idea.
Good opportunity.
Yeah. Well, you guys want to headline the Scholar Athlete Award? Want us? There we go.
Sure.
Could you talk a little bit about your time in Europe?
Yeah. So I got drafted by the Houston Rockets after college. 2nd round draft pick. So those are non-guaranteed. I had an agent. Long story short, I didn't make the team, whatever. The president ends up calling me, says, hey, we think it's best you go overseas for your first season, and then try again next summer. So my agent is scrambling to kind of find me a team because all the European market teams sign in August. He told me in September that I wasn't going to make the team. So scrambling to find a job. I took my first job in Istanbul, Turkey. I don't know if anybody's been to Europe, Istanbul. Great place, though. I go from Redmond, Oregon to Eugene to Istanbul. So I get off that flight and I'm like, where am I? Because it's the 4th largest city in the world. You know, Muslim population, you know, it's, yeah, it's just different. More or less borderline third world, so it's, you know, it's different than what we see here. So I played my first year there, had a really good year. Then went back to Houston, ended up not making the team again, so it was one of those things. It's hard to make the NBA. I found out it's tough. There's only a handful of jobs every year, so you're competing against the best in the world. So I ended up playing more or less 11 years. I had 1 year of Germany, in Germany, Ulm, Germany, southern part of Germany. I don't know, you said you were part of Air Force or? No, we were on a base, I don't know. John,
Yeah.
right? Or, anyways.
I was Army and I was in Darmstadt, that's in the middle.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was Ulm, southern part, ex-American Navy or Army or something base, but it's no longer there. But I lived in their housing, so they had it all set up, and I lived in their housing. So, but more or less, I spent 11 years in Italy. Spent 6 years in Milan, 2 years in Bologna, and 3 years in Naples. So I've seen north and south of Italy, more or less Italian, kind of. Love pasta and pizza and that whole thing, but just really enjoyed my experience. Played pretty high level basketball there. It's I played in their NBA, so every country has their domestic league, more or less like their NBA, all the way down to youth sports as well. So it's all professional there. So they don't have high schools. They all have clubs that you're a part of as you grow up. Okay, so. And some of those kids make money. If you're a high school kid, I'm not saying you're making hundreds of thousands or thousands, but maybe you're making $500 a month as a professional athlete. Sports in America is kind of getting on that wavelength where college athletes are now getting paid, but they're all part of a university and all their rights are kind of remain with the university. So yeah, overall, great experience. I retired because of COVID, because I was in Milan, Italy I was in Bologna right as COVID started, and then had to get out of there. And then I just begged my wife to let me go play one more year, kind of when COVID we thought was ending. So I went to Milan. And right as I got there, it was full lockdown. So it was a brutal situation, 9 months, 9 month season. I was on full lockdown, couldn't do anything. No fans, no nothing, no family. I just had my fourth. I had a daughter. I got 3 boys and a little girl. Just had my daughter, more or less, right as I left. So it was 9 months where my wife was not happy, and I was in Milan, Italy, drinking a bottle of wine, not doing much. So, but yeah. So, go ahead, Chris.
So 2 questions for you. One, you said you had a hard time filling up the seats for people to watch.
Yeah.
Are you having a hard time filling up the roster?
Yeah. So that's another problem. Luckily, I know between Redmond and Ridgeview, we struggled at the freshman level. I had 16 kids try out for the freshman team. Maybe 4 of those kids could play, actually make a layup, right hand layup. I kept 12 just because a lot of those kids just maybe need a little more time. There's some bigger kids, but it's tough. It's tough, and I know kind of the youth program, we're doing a good job building that youth, but I think so many kids have so many different options now that it's hard to keep kids interested, whatever. So I put on a youth camp. I've done it for the last 14, 15 years. Obviously, skill development is very important at the youth level. You know, dribbling right hand, left hand, layups, passing, shooting. But at the same time, I'm trying to make it as fun as I can because I don't want those kids to lose interest already. You know what I mean? I don't want to be hard on them or do a bunch of ball handling where they can't do it, where they just lose interest. So you're kind of seeing that at the high school level. I know Reagan at Redmond can barely get a JV team and barely a freshman team. Where I'm pretty lucky, or I was pretty lucky, no real issues yet.
Is there an age limit for the freshman team?
Age limit?
Yeah. Too high, too old?
Yeah, you have to be a freshman.
Have to be a freshman.
But strategies that, and we're not the only school that's facing. Summit doesn't have this problem, but Mountain View and Bend have the freshman levels a struggle. So you create a JV 2 team, which you can have juniors, sophomores, and freshmen all on one team, and you compete against other freshman team. But normally the JV and sophomore, or the juniors and sophomore kids on the team are kids that typically probably wouldn't make the JV team. They just keep them around to fill up that freshman team or the JV 2 team. So yeah, go ahead.
Question, what's your thoughts on making Redmond a one school down in 6A? Reagan wants that, he said it very clearly a lot to everybody, and I've heard it before this ever came out from his lips.
Yeah.
So I feel like Redmond's pushing hard and wants that. What are your feelings about that?
Well, I don't know if Redmond's pushing that, but maybe Reagan is. It's I think financially it's a no-brainer. It's one of those things, you have to put so much money into Redmond High every year just to patch up work, and I know they have a huge piping issue that's going to cost
boiler needs replaced.
Yeah, boiler, yep. It's and asbestos and the whole thing, so it'll be interesting.
6A travel?
What's that?
6A travel?
Yeah, I know.
The Valley again?
Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's I think of sports, we all think, or not maybe, but there's so many opportunities for kids. Sports is probably like 10th on the list in terms of important things. It could be great opportunities. You'll have one of the best high schools in the state if you do the $30 million expansion to Ridgeview. It could be a special place, give kids opportunities, because if you go to Ridgeview, it's a tech school, where Redmond's more, like ag, 4-H, welding, all that stuff, where they don't offer that at Ridgeview. So maybe you give the kids opportunity to, have the full picture of education. I don't know. It's I grew up with the one high school.
Though, is really
Yeah.
How many students were in your class?
How many students? We were one of the largest. We had like 1,400 students. We were one of the largest schools in the state when I went here.
For how many?
I don't know the numbers. Yeah.
Your school's built for 1,600. It's got 8, right?
Yeah. That's the other thing is they say the student population is decreasing every year.
Because
So
RPA is taken.
homeschooling, RPA, private schools. Yeah, I don't know. I'm no expert. I'm okay with whatever situation. I grew up with one high school. That was normal. I know a lot of people say the classrooms would get full, opportunities would be lost for kids. I don't know.
One less of every major sports team for the kids in town.
Yeah, but that used to, like I said, that used to be normal. No one used to
Because
do
it's a
it.
town of 20,000.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
And traveling to the valley, I just want to say that over and over again for the wintertime.
Yeah.
It's not a fun thing with buses and parents.
Yeah, no
Like
question.
that alone is, to me, a deal killer.
Yeah.
Besides filling the stands and
Yeah.
in the roster,
Yeah.
what does your team need? What does basketball teams need right now?
No, I think just support, just in the stands. Honestly, we're well taken care of. I was able to find great sponsors to help the teams with uniforms, all the sporting equipment. The kids are well taken care of. They don't have to pay for anything. We just took a 3-day trip to Staten. Other than, maybe lunch, I pretty much took care of the whole bill. So very fortunate that the kids, and then I put on my youth camp. I put on a youth camp that all the money goes directly to now Ridgeview. It used to go directly to Redmond. Now it will go to Ridgeview. Reagan was not happy about that. But that's how it goes. I need to raise money for the team as well. And then I helped put on a golf tournament here that some of that money will go to Ridgeview as well. Yeah, good.
So, what can I take away as your opinion about the movement to Intermountain Conference, speaking here where we played
teams and schools in the
Yeah.
area, even where there's a big disparity in the population.
Yeah.
Like us in Summit.
Yeah.
How can you be more competitive, have more kids? You know, that's
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah.
Versus the old days, which I guess was what, 2-3 years ago now?
Yeah.
Where you have to go over the mountain.
Yeah.
It says and all that. I mean, do you think it's working out okay, competitively and?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously Summit kind of beats up on everybody, but at the same time, I'm all about competition. You know, we play Summit on Friday. I'm not gonna, tell the kids like, hey, sorry, the game's over. We'll try to get them next year. You know what I mean? I hope, get them prepared for the game like as if we're gonna win. And hopefully they come out, because it's high school basketball. I've seen it at every level. I've seen games where I go in and I think we're going to win, easy game, and we've lost games. You have to play the game for a reason. So other than Summit, it's like we got nothing to worry about. Everybody's going to be competitive. I love the IMC. These are teams that I grew up playing against. Used to have some good rivalries. I know those have kind of got lost just with
You
addition of 2 high schools.
were in Pendleton. Are they part of that now?
No, they're no longer. I think it was a travel issue, but I think they're 4A where they got less student population as well. So, yeah, go ahead.
Or you were talking about experiences with your kids, but I just really want to applaud you for taking the kids to the University of Oregon basketball game and let them sit there at the outside. And I mean, I think that was huge for them. I mean, hearing the conversations and asking them what they learned was worthy, and so I really appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, it's because a lot of the things I preach, sometimes it's hard to get through their head. You know what I mean? They're like, oh yeah, whatever you're talking about. I used to be one of those kids. Like a coach would, try to tell me something, and then it's like, okay, whatever. You don't know what you're talking about, type of thing. But now, I had the opportunity. Unfortunately, we lost to Marshfield, so we were able to play an early game. And so I was like, hey, let's go to the Duck game. So I got them. We're 3 rows off the court. Luckily there's no students there, so we got student section tickets. So it was sweet. But a lot of the things that the Ducks do, strategy-wise, is stuff that I try to do. Like we do a 1-2-2 press, and the Ducks do that as well. And when I talk about putting pressure on the ball handler, they've got to see this like front row. So we played that next day. So a lot of my pregame speech is like, hey, what did you guys see in that game? You know what I mean? Not trying to, toot my own horn that this is what I'm trying to teach you, but at least they saw it with their own eyes. Obviously, that's a way higher level than we can do it at. Like, we can only put so much pressure without getting beat one-on-one, where the Ducks are a little more organized. But it's one of those things, they got to see with their own eyes. They got to feel the environment, taste the game, So hopefully, we played well that game as well. So it's just one of those things I just try to pass down as much knowledge. Try to make it a team bonding thing. So we did the turkey trot. So a few people out there. Just try to make it a team. No one wants to go run a 5K Thanksgiving Day, but I thought it was a good team bonding thing. So I got 6 to 8 kids that came out and ran. I even ran it. Terrible shape, but I finished. I think it's just good, fun stuff. We will do team dinners every night before our league games. So every parent will take a game or a night before a game and cook dinner and have the team over. So yeah, good stuff.
It just seems like coaching football at Redmond, it just seems like kids are just pulled in lots of directions.
Yeah.
Whether they're playing football, they're still, especially in the summer, they're doing baseball camps and other sports camps. I'm kind of the opinion is like we've got too much in some ways. Travel ball year round, all that kind of stuff. What's your thought on that?
Yeah, well, I'm a huge multi-sport guy, so unfortunately, I allow my guys too much freedom to go play other sports. So when we had summer league this summer, I have 2 of my better players who are basketball players, which are awesome, but they never came to summer basketball because they were always at summer baseball. A few other sports, but I'm all about multi-sport athletes, staying in shape, working different body movements, all about that, but I think it's just become too much in a way, and a lot of it is a money grab, especially when you got all these summer traveling teams, and And I know the reality of sports can be brutal, especially if you have high expectations of going to play college basketball, and so you feel like you have to play for this team out of Washington or whatever it may be, and pay thousands of dollars and travel all across the country, and then at the end of the day, you're probably not good enough to play college baseball at OSU or the Ducks. It's one of those things where it is what it is. I'm not going to break anybody's heart. I'm all about. I used to have big dreams as well back in the day, and people used to look at me crazy. But so I'm not going to break anybody's heart, and if that's what they want to do, then I fully support it. So yeah, it's gotten worse over the years. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
About this Year of the Raven thing.
Yeah. Wait, is it the Year of the Raven? Did you look it up?
The Japan Times says that 2024 is the year of the wood dragon, which urges pursuit of dreams and pushes for people to perform to the best of their abilities.
Love it.
I think that fits in well with you.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, appreciate it. I'm just gonna change it. I'll cross out dragon and steal that. I like that. Kids will never know.
Do you have any players in Key Club that you know of by chance?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll send them to these.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Done.
Maarty, do you have a day job?
I do have a day job.
What's your day job?
I work for Summit Bank, a little local business bank here in Central Oregon. So I knew them. So you guys are probably asking, like, how do you go from professional basketball to banker or whatever? So I knew the market president, Gary O'Connell. I knew the family pretty well. Laura was a teacher at Redmond High when I was a student. She's a Hall of Fame basketball player at the University of Portland. And so I got to know her a little bit, and then I would run a youth camp, and they would bring all their kids. And towards the end of my career, Laura was always like, hey, you need to call my husband and go be a banker. I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. So, when I decided to retire, I get a call from Gary O'Connell, the market president, and he was like, hey, come be a banker, come work under me, I'll show you the ropes. It's not rocket science. So I just passed my 2-year mark with the bank on market development. I try to bring in local businesses to come bank with us. So if any of you guys know local business owners or businesses that are looking for some lending or a better banking relationship, would love to sit down and have a conversation.
When's your Redmond branch open?
Yeah, and then we got a Redmond branch, which I've been waiting for a couple of years because that was part of the promise. Was that we're going to open a branch in Redmond, and here I am 2 years away, or a little bit 2 years ago. We're going to open in March, hopefully. I think there's an official announcement tomorrow. I was promised March, okay, but I was kind of guaranteed September a long time ago, so yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Kind of a comment, not so much of a question, but so when I played basketball in high school, it was like some dude's dad was the coach, right? Yeah. Does your team understand the value that you're giving them from a standpoint of, if I wanted to go play club, it would have cost a lot of money, my parents would have paid, and they're getting professional experience at the high school level. Do they get that that's what's offered to them?
I think so. It's, I don't hear it directly from the kids or whatever, but I know a lot of their parents have been, and then my coaching staff, I brought in Mike Nunes, who's my JV coach, who played high-level college basketball professionally, and so I begged him all summer. I was like, hey, let's build something special. So he's my JV coach. So I got a really good coaching staff, and the kids, not to toot my horn, are getting spoiled in terms of coaching level.
To your horn, it's good.
Yeah, but it's, or at least well experienced, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's still proven that if I can, win games, but at the same time, I don't hear it directly, but I feel like all the kids have responded really well. They all listen. They all try hard. Really no issues with any of the kids. No issues with the parents, which is a huge thing these days. So we'll see. I'm probably getting a year or two grace period. I know that going into it, that all the parents will kind of just take a back seat and watch and learn, but I'm sure here pretty soon, I will make a mistake in terms of playing time or make a bad decision or, I don't know, something. Those are the mistakes, so hopefully that I make. And then I'm sure I'll hear something. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you have any coaches that are actually teachers?
Yeah, I got one. Ryan Graville, he's a part of the staff. He's a teacher. Very important to have.
Yes, it is.
Because my assistant coach, he is a teacher, but not at Ridgeview. Evan Doherty, he's at Cascade Academy in Tumalo. And then I got Danny Marconi, who ran track at Oregon, who was Mike Nunez's, my JV coach's high school teammate. So he has basketball background, but he's just helping Mike out as well. So. Yeah.
Well, we owe Maarty and Summit Bank a huge gratitude. They are generally supporters of our Vintners Dinner and other initiatives that Kiwanis does. So Maarty, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time today. We have a
I can talk basketball all day.
We have a little token to say thank you for coming and talking with us today.
Thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm supposed to get a picture. Come on.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye, guys.
I'll stick around if anybody wants to grill me some more about.
Thank you, Maarty.
Or come check out the game tonight, and then take out your little notepad, and then shoot me an email. Yeah.
Well, guys, in honor of Maarty and all coaches everywhere, a good coach can change a game. A great coach can change a life. John Wooden. And we are adjourned.